And we're live. Hey,
Launcher, we're live now, are we?
awesome, awesome. Thanks for spending a little bit of your Wednesday with us here, talking about Daredevil Born Again episodes 5 and 6. We're joined here with Mr. C, and this is the Fanboy Cantina. How are we doing here, Mr. C?
Well, Daredevil Born Again. We might call it DDBA for short. I'm just off the top of my head. So it came to our attention that we didn't necessarily on either channel, on the Fanboy Cantina channel or on the Mr. C Dives In, do some full-fledged St. Patrick's Day content. So we're gonna again, sometimes the stuff we do can be on multiple playlists. So this could be on a post St. Patrick's Day after party playlist. This can be on the Daredevil playlist. This can be on the Disney Plus reviews playlist. We got a lot. We're playing around a lot.
We absolutely are. We absolutely are. And I love the background there, Mr. C. And you're correctly attired. I am not wearing green today because it's kind of a week later. But
It is the after party, and it's optional in the after party. But without getting into our full backstory, it's been our banter for many a year, many a decade. Are you after me, Lucky
ah,
Charms?
oh, you want me gold, eh? All right, let's get into the comments here. I'm going to click around a little bit, and oh my goodness, Chester Tree, very, very busy here with the Let's Go. Been dunking my face in ice Saratoga Springs sparkling water with lemon. Okay, all right,
That's a very
whatever.
specific news item right there. And let me
Very,
say that Chystar is testing out the simulcast feature. He's going in the comment section on the Fanboy Cantina channel, and then also in the comment section on the Mr. C channel. And then he's trying to also test out about the Signal app, which may or may
yeah.
not have anything to do with it.
Yeah, I don't yeah, let's not yeah. So and I've yet to watch any okay, that's hey there, Michaela. Good. Thank you for taking the time. Good
Cheers
to
to
have you here.
Michaela for stopping back. I'm sure Michaela's noticing I got the Svengoolie merchandise for the St. Patrick's Day shirts behind us.
Very, very nice. And yes, oh, and thank you, Chai Sarji, for the $2 super chat. Buy some Saratoga sparkling water and dunk your face. I'm not familiar with this drink. Wait, I haven't seen it in a very long time. Okay. What is the deal with my haircut? Yeah, I just got my haircut. This is not a kid and play haircut. This is anyways, hey there, Mr. Jim Campbell. Yes, yes, yabba dabba. And yeah, thank you for the shout out of the fresh cut. All right. So, Mr. C, where should we get started with today?
Well, let's go. I one time in my history successfully pulled off this
Mhm.
trick when MIB Mint Inbox Toy Master, Mint Inbox Master was over on my channel with us. But since again we didn't do a full-on St. Patrick's Day kind of a business, then I'm going to just do a 5 seconds of a share of one of my lowest rated videos ever, just from this past St. Patrick's Day, from
Uh-huh.
just outside the Irish American Heritage Center in the Windy City, blowing on actual St. Patrick's Day. Where's the pause? Let's come back around and come back to the traditional format. So with that as an opening, I'm impressed that they have so many things going on in the show already, but then to have a timely release that is set to be close in time with St. Patrick's Day. Pretty well known around lots of parts are the Dropkick Murphys, a combination of traditional Irish and punk music hailing from the Boston area and shipping up to Boston is one of their bigger tracks. So could have Marvel decided, let's play the popular song to draw the people in. And I don't diminish in any way, but I was pleased for their selection to be the Rocky Road to Dublin from the Young Dubliners. we're not here to shill, but I'm just saying if people are still in their post-party St. Patrick's Day, what a cool thing for Marvel to have incorporated that and then very quickly pivot and be multicultural to and weaving lots of things together to have the father of Kamala Khan show up in the bank. So now you have some Irish representation, you have some Pakistani representation, you have current day New York, so much going on, so exciting, it's all good.
I really, really felt, yeah, an aspect of the past these two episodes, episodes 5 and 6, is that you truly, truly feel kind of what makes America America, and also what makes New York so special as a place. Chicago's still better than New York, no question about it. But still, you see the character of what New York, of what makes New York, New York, right? You've got the different cultures, the different faiths, the different stories, the different things that are happening. You also see the challenges too of New York City as a place, and it was all front and center. Certainly in the past two episodes, but then when you include the White Tiger arc, other parts that we've already seen in the season, it's really great. It's really a great show. I do have the Dropkick Murphys on my running playlist, so that is a thing. Maybe I'll add some more
That's
stuff to.
perfect. And on that theme, so in our previous conversations,
Mhm.
I was referring to the character, and I knew that it's just New York guy being interviewed by BB Urich. But now let's pull up Joe. I don't want to mispronounce his last name, but what a classic New York looking face. I
Yep.
kind of missed him from being in this double release of episodes 5 and 6, but plenty of other New York characters or New York, the spirit of New York, well represented across multiple characters as the episodes continue to tick on. So much credit to the production team and the creative unit putting everything together.
Oh, absolutely, 100%, 100%. Um, I felt like with the how do you want to approach this, Mr. C? Do you want to go with 5 and 6 in order, or do you want to hop between the two? What are your thoughts?
We can do 5 and 6 in order, and then if the pivot of the conversation pulls us into 6 before we're finished with 5, then that's all good. We can go with the flow.
So I really enjoyed both episodes. I felt tonally 5 was a little bit different, maybe added in later. I was watching some. I wish I remembered the source. There was some clip that I had seen where Vincent D'Onofrio, the actor who plays Kingpin or Fisk, spoke about the creative reboot that had happened with the development of this season, and that what came along with that is the addition of the characters who built the show. So that includes the Foggy, the Karen Page, those, and I assume Frank Castle. Well, I'm not sure, but I assume that Frank Castle as well being added to the show. So it made me wonder: was episode 5 originally part of the arc for the series, or was it added in later? Because tonally it's a little bit different, but I still very much enjoyed the episode. I
Now
don't
this is
think
a
it's filler, but yeah. What do you think?
perfect question that you're asking, and let me say, in our team of assets around here, Mrs. C went to get her research done,
Mm,
and so now quoting comicbookmovie.com,
mhm.
this episode was exempt from the retouch or the redo, and maybe that's because it was designed as how they say a bottle episode with a limited set. The majority of it was shot in the one setting of the bank with minor other changes thereafter, or short moments of other scenes were included. So maybe they felt they nailed it from the go, but that indicates to me, and let's assume that's correct, but even if it's not correct, even if it was the product of revision, how cool that they're weaving together. Here's a Kamal Khan Funko.
Yeah.
And if we go back in time to when we're reviewing the Ms. Marvel Disney Plus show, the family aspect of it was what was making it real and stand out for us. With no disrespect to the heroic side and the development of the young lady in her own right, like in her school setting and in
Mhm.
other settings, but that was what really grounded that show for the both of us and for plenty of other viewers was how how well written and how well delivered the family scenes were. So now here comes opening the doorway with the dad to be interacting with Matt Murdock. Just the possibilities are intriguing and making me chomp at the bit to see more of what's coming.
Absolutely. I really, yeah, you hit it right on the head there. Really enjoyed Ms. Marvel, and it threw me off at first. I thought he looks awfully familiar, and then it became apparent. Oh yes, he is the parent in Ms. Marvel. He's one of the parents of Ms. Marvel. I love the Khan story. I love the Khan family. It is just such a joy. Even though I didn't love the Marvels movie, I still really loved all of the family aspects of attached to it. Yeah. Uh, so with the bank robbery scene, with this episode, it really does work all its own. It's like a I don't know, like, I had a food analogy when we did our first episode about, Daredevil Born Again. So I'm struggling for what, kind of food metaphor, would work here, but it's really just a nice tasty dish all unto its own. You know, you get the complete arc, you get the complete story, you get to see the fight, aspects too, and it does continue Matt Murdock towards his journey back to becoming Daredevil. So I really enjoyed it. And in our chat, you had some specific call outs of what this movie is, what this episode was
Well,
like.
and let me say this.
Yeah,
I'll approach it this way. Well, let me come straight on to I believe what you're saying. So, in our previous conversation on the previous episodes,
yeah,
we had a reference. There's some similarities to the sit down conversation between your Matt Murdock and your Wilson Fisk, your Charlie Cox and your Vincent D'Onofrio. Highly similar, or had to be influenced by the movie Heat. I don't remember the characters' names, but you have, for I believe it was the first time ever, De Niro and Pacino in the
right.
same scene with each other in that verbal sparring kind of a way. So again, Heat is the Heat and heist movies, right? So that was all about the heist. De Niro, the bad guy, Pacino, the cop. So the theme of heisting, there's continues to seem to be some DNA from Heat that's passed down into this Daredevil format. And now let me expand and say this. I've never robbed a bank. I'm confident you've never robbed a bank. I've never negotiated for hostages to be released from a bank. I'm confident you've never done that either. So it does, I believe. So I don't know how it really goes, but I think it's fair to say it calls for some suspension of disbelief because maybe in this TV format, in the real world, maybe it would not really go as we saw it on the screen. So yes, that is a thing that fiction, that superhero genre that many genres call upon is, hey, buy, let's have some buy-in, and if so, then that'll allow us to move through the rest of the story. So in that way, I will grant them the good faith to suspend my disbelief because of the way it drove the rest of the story. And then also in the further research, it wasn't on a set, it was shot in an actual bank. So
Hmm.
just there. So they traded off then some authenticity from the shooting location to then mitigate the amount of fan comings and goings of the colored mask characters hanging around in the bank.
Yep. Yeah. Well, one thing that you called back to is it's like Reservoir Dogs too, which also is a robbery there, and by all of the henchmen referring to each other by their colors, not Mister Orange or Mister Blue or whatever like that, but still referring to their colors. Yeah, I really did enjoy the episode, and even though it gave me perhaps a little bit more Disney Plus light kind of vibes, it was a little more approachable than some of the intense themes that we've seen across the series, and certainly in episode 6. But a very enjoyable watch for sure. And now, okay, so Chester, yeah, this is not a Kim Jong Un cut. This is brutal. Oh my goodness. All right. Yes,
Chops a
yes.
couple of super chats, and then
Wow,
he
my
thinks he
God.
can cut to town like it's
Geez.
open mic night.
What
What are
the
you gonna
heck is
do? What are
going
you gonna
on
do?
here? All right. From Mr. Jim Campbell, I thought the White Tiger's amulet was going to be in the vault. Was it really an infinity stone? I don't think that was the case. I don't think that was the case.
I'm going to agree that it wasn't, but we need Campbell to come from Campbell's corner to give us those questions to keep us honest and be sure that important possibilities are discussed around here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Where should we go next, Mr. C?
Let's say that I thought it was authentic for the hostage crew to refer to Matt as a solicitor. And then let me not be cryptic for my subtitle here, stateside of the big swim. Oh, Murdoch. Well, where are you from? Oh, Hell's Kitchen. Oh, he's from Hell's Kitchen. Oh, before you made the big swim. Oh, I was from the orphanage. I don't really know. I really like that writing and line delivery and that banter. And that was super good. Now, let me also bridge to that. Recently, this was your discovery. We kind of checked out another movie in which there was an Irish character represented wearing the balaclava, the fancier sounding name for the ski mask. So here we are again talking about Irish character, this time multiple, wearing the balaclava.
And if you're not familiar with what Mr. C is referencing, there's a movie called Kneecap that aired at Sundance last year, and now I forget what streaming platform still has it. I thought it was on Netflix. I'm not quite sure. I loved that movie. It was one of my favorite movies of 2024, and it's about the band Kneecap. But it's got a lot of other themes in it, which I thought you would have liked, Mr. C, but I appreciate there are certain elements that
Plenty of
maybe pushing
elements
the
I
limit.
did like, but again, and this could begin picking into my little differentiations here. How come I can accept or work with the Disney presented graphic violence,
Yep.
but then that was one shade skewing into a little too violent for me for entertainment purposes. But the whole element of maintaining Irish culture in a contemporary way, that those parts of Kneecap I was very into.
I get you. I got it. Yeah. Let's see. What else? Can we talk about this? About the faith aspect of this
Let's go.
episode?
Let's go, Faith.
And this does spill from this episode into the next episode. The Daredevil character, you are better versed about the character than I am, but the things that I remember about my time reading the Daredevil comics, that started like in the Marvel Knights era, and then kind of moving backwards and forwards, or kind of catching up certain elements, and then picking up future issues down the road. There's a faith element to Matt Murdock as a character. I can't think of another Marvel character. I mean, I guess I could easily actually pick up a few, but of like mainstream characters that are very well known, I feel like his faith is more front and center. Certainly with Magneto, you have his Jewish faith front and center, but Daredevil is very striking to me for his richness in his Catholic faith. Hey there, Blue.
I'm not
Thanks
trying
for
to
joining.
derail. We're Blue and everybody else. We're discussing how the aspect of faith is incorporated into the character of Daredevil. We're always happy to see Blue Sasquatch come around. Blue, happy to have you checking us out. Now the comment section goes nuts for the return of Blue Sasquatch to the comment section. It's a beautiful thing. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna add. So in this episode, in episode 5, you also have the hostage who is praying visibly in the lobby area, and you see the flashback that happens in episode 6 of that same woman, when Yusuf Khan is, expressing how much he wants to see his family again. And he says, Inshallah. And then there's the comment that one of the robbers makes about the significance of St. Patty's Day to a Protestant. It's just very striking. And then last thing I'll say, in the next episode, in episode 6, you see Matt Murdock praying with the memorial card for Foggy. I don't know if I necessarily have a comment here, Mr. C, but I did find those elements very striking. It gave me even more, I guess, depth or richness or appreciation for the original comics too. And maybe in this kind of platform, in this Disney Plus kind of platform, it's also maybe a little bit gutsy to acknowledge that in a positive way. What are your thoughts, Mr. C?
Spot on. As I approach my thoughts, let me just note that
Oh, yeah.
Campbell is acknowledging the blue mask of Sasquatch, hugging the. So graphically, that's a good image to put on the comics page, and then to read, because that is a visual expression of all the stuff that Fanboy G is saying right now of his blue Sasquatch and Chi-Star bantering with each other. It's a beautiful thing. So again, as Campbell is saying, it's a beautiful thing to have that visual image, from whichever era of Daredevil, from the Frank Miller times. From I was angry when the series. Yep, blue. Same. We are in the same boat once again. Blue Sasquatch. Across the years, we were having consistent reads on things. So now I want to come to. I'm not saying too on the nose, but just ideally on the nose, right there. So the lead bank robber.
Yes.
Saying so, then his accent was identified as from Belfast, and full disclosure, I can't pinpoint all the regional accents of Irish accents. I could maybe one day increase my ability to do that, but as we sit here today, so then he, in his accent, not too on the nose, but I'm saying right on the nose. Oh, you're blind. You're a solicitor, which is the Irish word for lawyer, or the name of the job when you're over the seas in Ireland, and you're in the orphanage, and you're referencing a Charles Dickens character. So exactly, now you have a Catholic faith guy, blind justice, all that, trying to. So absolutely, he could have come. So I'd be cool to ask Stan Lee or someone who was in the know of the early days of Daredevil. Was he supposed to be Dickinsonian? Was it supposed to just be, was it just it just happened that way? So, but it is and so let's say this, and here we are in episode 5 and episode 6. So here comes, in a sequel like way, 7, 8, 9 are on deck, and I'll be interested to see how they further incorporate the elements of faith. And then, especially if we can jump this way, episode 6 did so much of setting the one against the other with the parallel structure. Parallel Lines was a 1978 album by Blondie, which was a very good thing. But now we have some parallel lines between Fisk and Murdoch, and just the fight choreography, the character arc is like intersecting, but they're both parallel and intersecting in that they're both reverting to what their true nature is. That discussion early on of, does a mask allow you to be your true self, or does a mask make you more of an animal? Murdoch says both. And so absolutely, Kingpin is coming back to his true self. Murdoch was in an ethical dilemma, so he reverted to his true self as a hero. I'm going to catch my breath. You talk.
Yeah. With
For a minute, it's all exciting.
With episode 6, it's absolutely delivering on the title of the show. It's delivering on the Born Again aspect of both Daredevil as well as Kingpin, as well as Fisk. And you're right. In the beginning of episode 6, in that dialogue of the masks, they're both wrestling with the masks that they are wearing themselves and taking them off over the course of the episode. And then at the end, where the two of them are both having their separate fights for their lives, they then complete that arc to their previous selves. They are born again as Kingpin and as Daredevil. And obviously, with the name too, Born Again, you have also those religious themes baked into that very title.
Coming, I'm saying I'm not trying to double talk, but they're going again. They're going in opposite directions, but they're going in the same path. They're approaching where they will intersect in combat coming up, right? So let's look at plotting over the overall 9 episodes. So we just hit 6. So again, here comes 7 and 8. There'll be most likely more rising action. 9 may still have some action, but be a resolution or a setup for future things or for the second season. So I think we're about to, in the next 2 episodes, get loaded with the best. So right. So again, going through the preliminaries. Here's Kingpin going against the character of Adam. Here's Matt Murdock going against the jobber, if you will, or the mid-level villain of Muse. So they've both had their warm-up fight. So now they're ready to engage with each other, not in verbal sparring this time around, but in complete physical combat. So again, with the history of great choreography that they have, as Blue had just referenced, it was a bummer when Netflix faded away because of all the great aspects of the show, but so cool to be approaching it right here, right now.
Yeah.
And
Well, and just funny, the mask I have on is the blue demon. Yeah, that's good. Um, and
is
then
Blue Sasquatch a DePaul guy, or that he can feel free to remain mysterious, just like Mandarin, if that's the case?
that's a good question. And then Jen Campbell writes that the blood on the infamous white painting is in Kingpin's man cave. Wow. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The oh, how am I doing on here? Okay. All right. Okay, got it. Let's talk about the fighting. Let's talk about the fight choreography. If there was something that I paused a little bit on, with the MCU, I do really like when they are thoughtful about fighting styles, and that everybody doesn't fight the same. Everybody has their own particular learned experience, physique, what have you. And between Muse and Daredevil, they seem kind of evenly matched or similar in fighting style. Muse out done by Daredevil for sure. They seemed a little similar to me, which was, I don't know, maybe not my favorite, but I absolutely loved Fisk as Fisk. His is just brute strength. That I really loved. And I had to do a check. Age-wise, Charlie Cox is 42 right now, and Vincent D'Onofrio is 65 years old. And he was just intimidating as heck in this episode. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. You get the true brutality of the Kingpin against poor Adam with an axe.
D'Onofrio continues to hold a master class in character acting and in immersing himself in the role. And then so the role of the the kingpin of crime. All right, I tell you what, I got you locked in a dungeon here. I've been, as I mentioned before, continuing the affectation of eating in a civilized manner because that goes against his barbaric or his animal side of his persona. All right, hey, I'm going to spot you an axe. Let's go. Like that. Ooh, that's a lot of confidence that he was going to win the day. I mean, he didn't spot him a rock, or he spotted him an axe. That says a lot about how savage he is. And again, the character's interesting, and D'Onofrio's interesting as well.
Let's catch up in the chat. Okay, so the origin story of the mask is it's a luchador mask from Mexico. So that's the backstory. Bullseye killed someone with a fork, and they filmed 3 fighting scenes thinking Disney wouldn't use the one that we saw, but they did.
Blue's out there as field reporter and luchador at the same time. You're not going to know who Blue is while he's collecting the research because he's got his luchador mask. It's brilliant.
That's awesome. If I get around to it, previous episode, we talked about how I went to Fan Expo and saw the Charlie Cox and, oh man, what's the name? Wait, Wilson Bechtel. They were on a panel together, Daredevil and Bullseye together on a panel, and Charlie Cox spoke about, as you get a little bit older, you need to kind of stretch and, before you need to be a little bit more thoughtful of the prep work necessary before embarking in these action scenes. If I get around to it, I'll post it on the channel and you all can catch that glimpse. All right, where should we go next, Mr.
Let's
C?
stay in the Fisk, and then I do have some other notes off of
Yep.
Fisk. But so then Fisk gets it in his head. I'm going to get to this news. I can't, as the mayor, I can't have a serial killer, but also as the kingpin, I'm not letting somebody go around and disrupt cash flow and all that. So I can't let somebody else control media attention and power. So both in his role as mayor and in his role as kingpin, here he comes to put an end to Muse. So what does he do? He starts a task force. So talk about references. There have been all kinds of police shows through all the history of TV and in film also. Similar to The Shield, similar to The Wire, these grittier cable TV show police movies. So now you have a band of loose cannons, bad apples, primed and bred to be Fisk goons on the clock for the city. So that's pretty ominous. I keep saying ominous, but a lot of this stuff is ominous. So here Fisk, both a combatant and a strategist, putting that together. So that's going to be a hell of a thing to see. What comes from the future of that task force in these few, and not just the next 3 episodes, but in season 2 as well. And then I wanted to pivot back to our lead guy, Matty Murdock. So we've identified all these different character things in him. So he felt in his heart Foggy was killed by Bullseye. And had Matt Murdock not been Daredevil, then Daredevil wouldn't have been in conflict with Bullseye. So he, at the beginning of this season, right, as painful as it was to watch the character of Foggy Nelson meet his demise, Matt felt in good faith that he was morally compelled. His hero's journey was to put down the mask and the Billy Club and to stay out of the hero game, regardless, totally separate of Fisk trying to put a clamp down on vigilantes. But now, in the current moment, here's the young white tiger, Angela Del Toro, the niece of the. She has yet to put on the amulet, but I believe that's coming up. So, but now here she is in peril. So you're the moral conflict. I have to not put on the suit. I owe Foggy's memory that.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot let this young lady. And when you watched it again, her earlier conversation, she had some information. She was going to track down the lead come hell or high water. Had he in that moment said, okay, I will track down this lead for you, she would not have gone into peril.
Mm.
They didn't articulate that on screen, but I'm figuring that's a fair thought process that he had. So, wow, good stuff ahead. And then in that underground layer. So I'm now bringing us up to what might we see coming around in the near future. Probably the best way to revive her from having her blood drained is to get the magic amulet and bring some life energy into her. So totally looking forward to all that. If we can see, Campbell is saying from Campbell's Corner, did Bull in? I don't know. In comics, at some point, it had to be because Daredevil's identity became very publicly known and then retracted. And they did a whole thing then when Iron Fist was wearing the Daredevil costume to recreate the illusion of, no, it can't really be Murdoch, but that's not the case. You on the TV. I just don't know, Jim, but let's, again, Campbell throwing out the white whale questions. Let's continue to try to find the answer in the future episodes.
I really love the niece's performance, or the actress playing the niece. I thought she was great. I thought she was much better in this episode, perhaps compared to earlier episodes. The intensity that she brings in, and how dumbfounded she was in that conference room setting. That, hey, Mr. Murdoch, do something. I thought was just she was absolutely stellar. I hope that we will see her with the amulet. Um, Curious about what that transformation would be. Maybe what we talked about. Maybe it's the introduction of the Young Avengers or whatever they're branding it here in the MCU. I'm very, very curious.
I so want to see her pal around with Ms. Marvel. I have good vibes, fresh waves for what future interaction that may bring. And let me go. Campbell saying Niece is a better detective than the cops. Well, again, maybe it needs a little suspend disbelief. Maybe because she had a lead from White Tiger, her uncle, or maybe it's again you got to allow these things to drive the plot. But she found him. She got there. Maybe that's in the future. We'll see her be a good detective side of being a hero as a street level hero. So maybe that's on the horizon also.
Yeah, I had to rewatch that episode 6 a little bit, or I fast forwarded around for specific clips. She has it down to the line and the track, so she already knows where it is. And Fisk even calls out how the identification of a serial killer was done by the sanitation department, not by the NYPD. So yeah,
What a great justification that was for him to be able to make it move. And again, we don't rob banks. We don't negotiate hostage situations. We don't. We're not working for sanitation and out there discovering things. So yeah, we're having an entertainment a viewer interaction with this as opposed to having a firsthand knowledge of all these things.
as much as episode 6 is likely my favorite of the series so far. Um, and I justify that because it's delivering on the title. There's an arc within this episode. There's a lot to really, really love about episode 6. There were those moments of suspension of disbelief, as you said, that the sanitation department is going to do a DNA test of paint. Sure, I'll go with that. Yeah, I'm fine.
That guy was also a beautiful spirit of New York kind of guy. Yeah, well, then this, then that. I'm not going to try to paraphrase him. I'll just
Yeah.
ultra summarize it. But would you get to the point already? Oh, well, here's the point. There's blood in there, and so that was again. But it was a good set, not set up for a punchline, but set up for a reveal. Here you're getting used to the guy. He's rambling. He's rambling. You want him to get to the point, and then when he comes to the point, it's like a hard impact, impactful hit of the brakes into the flow.
Yep. So in the series, there's been a few references to other Disney Plus series. We just spoke about Yusuf Khan, reference to Kamala Khan as well, Ms. Marvel. Earlier, there's a reference to Skrulls, where the guy asks, was it maybe Skrulls that stole the fiddle faddle instead, or something along those lines. And in this episode, we see Jack Duquesne as well as the swordsman. Jack Duquesne as both Jack Duquesne and
Jack
swordsman.
Duquesne in his non-masked face, and then again showing hey, I just got sent this video of what is probably the actual swordsman because, well, he's got a mask on and he's operating with a sword.
Yes.
So I'm glad you were shooting the actor Tony Dalton. I'm glad you took the shot. I was hesitant to try to pronounce Duquesne. Oh no, man!
Now it's a party here.
Do we still have Blue Sasquatch? And is this another Mandarin and Blue Squatch reunion? In the comment section, that's a beautiful thing. Mandarin,
Awesome.
we're pleased to have you along for the ride. Even if similar to Chai Star, you haven't really watched the episodes, we're still good to engage and make the conversation. All right. So where was I going? So regarding, so let me pull from the two different settings. Again, Wilson Fisk in his office, then it was like not even Charlie Brown, but you could figure he was like overloaded. He comes out with what I would call a maniacal laugh. Now pair that with the other setting, but he was able to assert himself. He's in his own office. Now he's out on the oh, we got Mandy and Blue back together, man. Someday the offshoot I would love to have a Mandy and Blue Sasquatch show exclusive. They should start their own podcast. It's a magnificent thing. Don't want to lose track of what I'm saying while I'm of two minds. I need to celebrate Mandarin and Blue Sasquatch and Jim Campbell and Chai Star all together, yet also the content that we're trying to elaborate on here for Kingpin. Now is he out of his depth? Is he a fish out of water? He's supposed to be asking for money of the elite. So let's assume this crowd has equal or greater wealth to Kingpin. Again, in a Tony Soprano-like way, then they would have episodes where the Sopranos encountered others who had a much more vast wealth than did the Soprano family. So you're going around, you're the boss of all bosses, yet also small fish or big fish, small pond, small fish, big pond. So the blonde woman and coming to, let's not forget, as you were saying, the swordsman has to know because he says about Garrote and concrete shoes. So that says to me, the swordsman played by Tony Dalton absolutely knows of the criminal history of Kingpin because he would, based on his history from the Hawkeye TV series on Disney Plus, have knowledge of all that. So this is a surprise mini battle that I didn't anticipate. And then the blonde lady was, let's be honest. Oh, I didn't know that was on the table. Let's be honest. So he's now verbally sparring. She does not lose. Now he could well in his head be like, she's going to get some cement shoes tomorrow. But it could also be that by her vastness of her wealth or the accumulated wealth of everyone in that room, that has to be a lot of power. So let's say one by one, if somebody's equally as wealthy as Kingpin, but it's an assembly of many wealthy people, and that was part of the point then in having Vanessa, and we should include the character of Vanessa Fisk in the conversation. She's explaining it's important to appear to be beholden or to be in reverence of those who are in power. Even maybe it's a little bit of Sun Tzu appearing weak when you're really strong, or trying to appear strong when you're really weak. Maybe there's a little bit of that going on, but she was wise in her advices to him. And it's all, what are you hoping for to see between Swordsman and Kingpin coming up?
Well, I think we can sort of see where, or I believe the seeds are there. The seeds have been planted to not result in a happy ending for Jack Duquesne in this series. I don't think that's gonna, because now you've got Kingpin seemingly thrown on his heels after being belittled in the open by all of the wealthy elite of New York. So that can't have a happy ending. And you also have Fisk building power by creating the anti-vigilante task force, and you just so happen to have one of the wealthy elite who is both, who is also a vigilante as the swordsman. I mean, that character is wearing, it seems like the Ronin outfit uniform that was the whole auction that happened in the Disney Plus series Hawkeye. So I don't think he has a happy conclusion even after next week. Yeah.
Given Kingpin's savagery, there's no disagreement with the postulation that you submit. Now, at the same time, then just in the practical side of things, in the production side of things, can they afford to eliminate the character of Swordsman from the Hawkeye interactions? And I mean also Hawkeye Clint Barton, but I mean the Young Avengers Hawkeye as played by Haley Steinfeld. I can't think of the Kate Bishop. God, yep. Kate Bishop, it came to me. So I think as a supporting cast okay. So Foggy was an essential supporting cast character to Daredevil. Mm-hmm. But he did meet his demise. So now as I think it through, as we're going, that may well mean there is room for the swordsman to end up Foggy Nelson. It is entirely possible.
I think that is what's going to happen here. There's some unusual chats, or there's a lot of chat going on. I'm gonna hop around though, rather than replay
Yes, we might need
all
to
of the
do
chat.
select
Yeah, we're gonna be a little bit
highlighting.
selective here, but appreciate yeah, the Mandarin for doing the shout out, and so appreciate that. And Mandarin also participating in the dual live stream. So you might be, you individually, a person at home, you might be watching on the Fanboy Cantina channel, or you might be watching on the Mr. C Dives in. You might be watching both. If you could do us a favor, hit the like on both, and obviously also subscribe on both as well. And then let's hop to, if it's all right, Mr. Jim Campbell. Who is underneath Manny's mask? Is it Manny or Sasquatch? Maybe it's both.
I think I got to give Campbell caller of the show for that one tonight. That is top flight.
I thought, or I wondered, if the Muse character is actually the number two, the handler person for Fisk, or is it maybe one of the was it the five families? But I don't think that is it. I don't think that is it. Any suspicion? Do you think it's a unique character or somebody that we've already seen?
I have known it, right? Sometimes we say, "Oh, I happen to know," or we earlier on we would make it a feature or an element in our shows to say, "When did you first learn of the character?" or "What's your first exposure to?" I got no. This is the first I'm ever encountering Muse, so I know nothing, and I'm just blissfully ignorant and along for the ride to see how it shakes out.
Very nice, very nice. I think it is the character that first asks, what's her name? Heather? What's the name of Murdoch's girlfriend, Dr. Glenn's? Uh, thought it'd be Hannah? The doctor. There's a person who comes up to the doctor and asks for her to sign it, and also asks, I have some troubles or issues, and I'd really love to speak with you. Because of the amount of screen time there, I tend to think that's the Muse, but I don't know exactly. Yeah.
There you are, being a detective level of beneath the white tiger, and I'm just sitting here and eating popcorn off to the side, not knowing what's what.
All right, so we're almost at the 50-minute mark, Mr. C. Other things that you want to cover for today?
Oh, just I'm super looking forward to 789. We said about the task force. We said about just I think we covered all of my notes, and that's a good thing. I gotta say I'm equally as excited. It was a long time coming. Good things come to those who wait. It was a long, and then okay. Oh, the show's going to come out now. No, wait, we're going to pull it back. We have some revision to do. We'll sell no Disney Plus before it's time. I'm like, okay, hope they get it right. Well, the ends justify the means on this one. So far for me, it's been some top flight material, and then equally as exciting is having our viewers both comment on the source material and interact with each other. Again, they have a Chai Star and a Jim Campbell and a Mandarin and a Blue Sasquatch in the comment section. To have Michaela had said hello in the comment section. It's in our post St. Patrick's Day party kind of a way here. This is I'm enjoying this one.
I'm absolutely enjoying this one for sure. Jim Campbell writes, Disney Plus is bloody so far. Yeah.
Bloodier than ever.
I didn't realize. I was watching the John Campea live stream last night. I'm not a regular watcher, but it happened to be on my feed. No disrespect to John Campea, it's just not. Yeah, as part of that discussion with the group, there's more F-bombs in one episode of Daredevil Born Again than in the entire arc of Daredevil in its Netflix run. I didn't realize how infrequently, I guess, the F word appears. Like it's once or not. Maybe I think the consensus was it's never said. So
I got to agree. They're catching up for making up for lost time and haven't been more Disney. Oh no! Now we're encouraging Chai Star to swim around over there.
Yeah. Hey, and so I'm going to take us on a bit bit of a tangent
Oh yeah,
here
oh yeah. Hey, yeah. We have a whole other. If you
before we
need me to
wrap
set
up.
up, I can run for a second. But if you're right there, then let's go ahead.
Or you can run if you like, and I'll put it up on the screen.
All right. So Blue, could you clarify your question? What Frank Castle, the Punisher? Maybe I'm missing something, but I want to come back. Blue, this is the same coffee cup I've been drinking out of that
Oh
we used to
boy.
comment on back in the day. So again, I don't know where to get this now because the Irish shop of Oak Park, Illinois, is long closed, and that's where I picked this one up. I'm sure it's internet accessible. So my question then is, as we're switching topics here
Mhm.
with the news of the day,
Yeah.
my question in the comment section is: we had set up, and Junkyard so far to date has been the only caller. But if we set up the call-in hotline and we accept either any answer, which is what Blue Sasquatch, would you be willing in a future time, if we're set up with the actual hotline, would you be willing to call in? Mandarin, would you be willing to call into the hotline and maybe even have a group conference call similar to how we had Jim Campbell be? Anyway, so that's my question in the comment section. Fanboy, take us to the news of the day, which was astounding and phenomenal.
So the big news of today was slightly painful to get through. I did not watch the live stream, but I did catch the highlight later. It is the announcement of the cast for Avengers Doomsday. And this is an intimidating, ridiculous number of acting chairs for Avengers Doomsday, currently in production right now. And so the list, and I'm not going to go through the list of names, but the list of names included many familiar characters from the Thunderbolts, which may be a little bit of a spoil there. Then does that mean that everybody lives in Thunderbolts, or is it flashbacks? Don't know, don't necessarily know. But also the addition of actors like Patrick Stewart, Sir Ian McKellen, and Alan Cummings as well, and a number of others from the Fox X-Men universe. So that was today's big reveal on the Marvel Studios channels. What were your thoughts or reactions here, Mr. C?
Well, first, let me speak to that visual. That is a lot of chairs. Just as you pull the chairs off the screen,
So
that is a
ridiculous.
lot of chairs. I think
Yeah.
they gave a roster tally of 27 incoming. Man, there's been, so let me see, based on how cool it was, how much fun it was in Deadpool and Wolverine to see the pull-ins, the revisits of Blade, of Elektra, the debut or the premiere of Gambit, and who am I forgetting? Whoever else they had. How well that worked. Given that there is a history of the Russo brothers from Avengers 3 and 4, what are the subtitles there? It's Infinity War and Endgame. Given how successful the Russo brothers did with that, I'm just telling you, even if it's just quick snippets to give a character respect, even if James Marsden as Cyclops just gets like a 20 seconds where he's in a spot on leadership way or delivering some heroism across the screen, and rinse and repeat that for each character. I am so looking forward to this now. I was already looking forward to it, but as we say, in the world of it goes to 11. You see it, you could stop at 10, but it goes to 11. So did my excitement level now rise up to the level of it goes to 11.
Absolutely. Very excited. Very excited by the cast. Very excited about the news. And it seems like if it's still somehow very aggressively on the path for hitting a 2026 release date, I think is what it has. That seems unusually quick as a turnaround. This show that we're just talking about, Daredevil Born Again, was filmed, I think we figured out, we determined it was at least 2022 or so, right? And here we're just watching it in 2025. How we can figure that out is because the actor who played Hector Ayala has since passed away. He passed away after a battle with cancer, I believe. So here the film, the production time, starting right now, and somehow having a finished product in a little more than a year, that seems intimidating. That seems like a lot.
Well, so right, that's the anticipation. Again, we may get there on theater day and have an aspect of defeat or disappointment, but in the meanwhile, the anticipation is something to look forward to.
I am looking forward to one of the specifically named actors, Channing Tatum, presumably coming back as Gambit. That's cool. Finally getting his moment in the suit beyond Deadpool and Wolverine. So that is cool. Looking forward to. Hopefully, he has more screen time than he did in that movie. That's really awesome. Simu Liu as Shang-Chi back again. That's awesome. Have
And
no
that's also been a
comprehension.
long time coming.
No comprehension how there's not Shang-Chi 2 already in theaters. But I guess we finally catch up to the
Well,
to
but
him now.
we had to wait for Daredevil. So again, they got the plate got crowded, right?
Yeah,
For I won't pretend to know all the behind the scenes circumstances, but there
yeah,
was a dip in. It wasn't like every time at bat was a home run. So what happens then? You come back in the dugout, you gather up, you call a timeout from the pitcher's mound, what have you. You get it back together, and so I think that's what happened, and I think we're about to see the positive results of what they did. But long overdue to get to Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi. Again, when I was reading it as a kid, I was saying Shang-Chi, but then I hear
yeah.
in the actor people pronounce it in maybe a more authentic way. But just again, the possibilities, the possibilities. So
The
looking forward.
possibilities. I'm not going to go through all of the chat, but let's pick around a little bit. Um, no Hugh Jackman or Spider Kid. Yeah, Tom Holland.
So would I like to see that? Yeah, but let's make room for the other guys, right? They've had plenty of their time in the sun, and they're well featured. If we need, and again, maybe come back around to 4 movies down the way and something happens. But let me see the X-Men come back out and again maybe to address, as was the case with all these other characters, maybe to address some things that could have gone better. So super. And again, we're talking back to the year in the year 2000, to borrow the Conan O'Brien line for a minute. That is 25 years after the fact. That's amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing. This is interesting. Yes, could it be that Ryan Reynolds is not in the chairs, not listed among the chairs because of the drama that's happening with the lawsuit? Um, could easily be that that was not a complete reveal. There could be other characters that'll show up later. It would be nice to hold some things back. Um, it seemed like a lot. It seemed okay. So maybe a little bit of a criticism for me to the earlier Thunderbolts comment that I brought up of, does this mean that all of the Thunderbolts survive out of this movie? Do we already know that? But then also with the cast, it's the Fantastic Four. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. But okay, so we all kind of know it's going to somehow jump ahead in the future. That's obvious already. But you know, is it a spoil? I don't know. Maybe not.
I got to pull Blue's comment right there. Secret characters like Blue Demon. How perfect.
Yeah.
Campbell coming around to say, are the X-Men crustier than me? I don't know how we're going to measure. Again, I love the stumper questions. I'm not sure how to measure the degree of crustiness, but I'm not sure I want to acknowledge my own current contemporary, as we sit here today, degree of crustiness.
Yes. Yes. And now it seems like I can't tell if it's a debate about Aquafina, the actress, or Aquafina, the drink, because there's a dialogue about Evian and other stuff going on in the chat. All right. Anything else that we should cover before we wrap up here, Mr. C?
Daredevil wise, I think we're covered. We took the intro. I mean, of course, it merits a more full conversation, but we're just tacking on unexpected news of the day into this. So I'm sure in the future we'll be discussing again the possibilities and the further news updates towards Avengers Doomsday. It is really exciting to me. Again, I look to I have a time in the future where we can structure it, where the hotline is ready, and maybe hear the voice of a blue Sasquatch, the blue demon Sasquatch, maybe hear the voice of a Mandarin, as so far Junkyard has been the only caller ever to call in. So if we expand that roster, I'm just as excited about that as I am about all this stuff. And that's all I got.
All right.
Close us out when you're ready, sir.
All right. Well, if I had a moment, or if I had the image, I would also take a moment to shill our friends at Bro Axiom Outpost, and you can see the scroll down at the bottom. They just added the latest Star Wars Black Series and Vintage Collection releases, or pre-orders for future releases. Among them is the Carson Teva action figure. So I got to get on the site there and put in my order if it's not already sold out. So check out our friends over at broaxiomoutpost.com and check out the latest toys coming out. All right. Well, okay. So in terms of the next live stream, I've got a conflict with next week, same time. Mr. C, you gonna go solo? You want to push out the day? Or?
Hey, in terms of Daredevil material, it's you and me, 50-50, Nelson and Murdoch and Nelson. But let me say, and this might be calling out, and I would be great if Blue Sasquatch, your Blue Sasquatches and your Mandarins of the world, if they're able to take a look at this. But since the NECA, Toonie Terrors, Silver Screens came out, so recently the Dracula, Mummy, Frankenstein, Werewolf. So previously the colored editions came up. That's some kind of Jim Campbell territory. So now I think that all 8 figures are out. Sometime in the near future, I need to get Jim back around so we can either rank or just compare. Ooh, look at this guy, how cool he is in black and white and gray. Look how cool this guy is in color. That's not on the immediate horizon, but that'll be sometime coming around. And then soon enough, we'll be in a convention season, and Chai Star and me will be bumming around in the floors of Artist Alley for your C2E2, your Chicagoland Comic Convention. So a lot of good stuff coming, and a lot of hilarity in the chat as well.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, let's wrap it up here.
Let us wrap it.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for being in the chat. And whether you're watching live or you're watching later, post in the comments. Would love to continue the conversation with you. Do us a favor, hit the like and hit the subscribe on both Fanboy Cantina as well as Mr. C Dives In. And we will wrap it up. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks, Mr. C.
This has been a fun one, and we are out.